Hey guys, welcome back to another movie review on my second YouTube channel, Ian Preston Reviews. I'm gonna in June this will be its 20th anniversary, and I liked watching this when I was a kid. It's a Nickelodeon movie. It's a Hey Arnold movie. It's titled Hey Arnold the Movie, directed by Tuck Tucker, who passed away sadly in 2020. And written by Craig Bartlett, and the movie actually was the first Nickelodeon movie to receive a PG-rated film, and I'm going to be reviewing this for its 20th anniversary. And it all starts out with a typical nice day in Arnold's neighborhood, when all of a sudden a bulldozer with a huge wrecking ball knocks something over, and then Arnold and Gerald get back from a game, and they learn that FTI is going to destroy their neighborhood, tear down their neighborhood, and put up a fancy shopping mall. But then Arnold says we could refuse to sell our houses, and he said that this is our neighborhood and we won't give it up without a fight. And not only that, I heard the movie's going to be released on Blu-ray on February 15th of this year, and I think that means for its 20th anniversary. But anyway, Arnold and Helga'S spying on Arnold because she secretly likes him, and then she reluctantly joins her dad because her dad is working with FTI because he's gonna have a bigger upgrade to his company in the shopping mall with FTI, and Arnold tells his grandpa that he's actually worried about what's going on. And Arnold decides to do a bunch of things to stop the FTI from tearing it down, and then they decide to do a party, which eventually gets ruined by cops and the SWAT team because one of the FTI employees, Nick, steals their permit, and apparently it was illegal, and then Grandma Gertie gets arrested, and then that causes everybody to lose hope and give up and decide to sell their houses until Arnold sees everyone sad the next day, and Arnold and Gerald try to spend their last time at an arcade. And then Arnold learns about a tomato incident from his grandpa Phil, and then him and Gerald go certain places to try to get the document and all, and then they go to Future Tech Industries, which leads them there to Future Tech Industries, and then they sneak into they talk to Mr. Scheck, and then he explains that there is no document, and he says the neighborhood's going down, and then later that night Arnold and Gerald later on Scheck tells Nick about the football head kid Arnold, who he calls him a football head. Everyone's calling him a football head. And then next thing you know, Arnold and Gerald are they get a phone call from a deep voice named Deep Voice that Scheck's lying to them, that the document is real, and they have to steal a key that Scheck's assistant Nick carries, and then they get gadgets and spy gear from Agent Bridget the next day, and then they go to Future Tech Industries and sneak in and try to get to behind Scheck's desk to look through the doors of the document, and then Phil Shortman, which is Arnold's grandpa, and his buddies decide to make up a cause a backup plan in case Arnold fails. Oh, and earlier, to get behind Scheck's desk, Arnold and Gerald follow Nick, and when Nick's asleep, they steal the key around his neck, and then they eventually manage to get onto a bus to Scheck's building, and they sneak in and get behind his desk successfully. And then later that night, Big Bob confronts Nick, and they get because Scheck gets 51% of Bob's company, which will swindle him, and then they get into a fight. Bob turns into the Hulk and sadly loses to Nick, and then Nick notices the key's gone, And Nick is also voiced by the Homer Simpson voice, Dan Castellaneta. That's why they sound alike. And he was also in Space Jam, by the way, Dan Castellaneta. Briefly, he's the one that said, "Barkley's killing us." Yeah, but anyway, Nick informs Shek that the key's been stolen. Then Shek finds Arnold and Gerald and tells them about how his ancestors lost to Arnold's ancestors in the tomato incident, and turns out the whole tearing down the neighborhood thing was a revenge story about Shek wanting to tear down the neighborhood with his name written all over the mall, so he's trying to avenge his ancestors, and he burns the document right in front of them with a weird look, like a weird look, and then orders his guards to get rid of Arnold and Gerald. They escape, but they do end up splitting up though, but Arnold sadly sits in a parking garage hopelessly and takes off his belt furiously, giving up. Then he gets a phone call from Deep Voice. He informs Deep Voice what happened. He asks if Deep Voice asks if there are any other copies of the document, but Arnold said there is no other copies. But then he mentions the security cameras recording everything 24/7 in Shek's building, and then Deep Voice said if he could get into the room where it controls all the security cameras, he can get the footage of Shek burning the document on tape, which is their last hope, and they could show it to the police and be good as document itself. And Grandma Gertie escapes from prison too, and escapes through a toilet, which was the mailman's toilet. Anyway, Arnold manages to get into the video camera control room and successfully gets the tape. But then Shek finds him, and then on the security camera in his office, and then orders his guards to go after him, and then his guards ran past the security camera room, and then Arnold runs upstairs at the top of the building, informs Gerald that he got it all on tape, and then Gerald says he's going to try to call them a cab or a bus to get them back to town, so they can show this to the cops and to the mayor. And then Arnold said he's going to have to wait till the guards are gone. And he said, "See you in 2, Gerald." And then the next thing you know, he gets another call from Deep Voice, and he finds him at the rooftop, and it's revealed to be Helga. And then Helga reluctantly reveals her love for Arnold, and they share a kiss, and his hat comes off. And then they manage to get down the building, and then Arnold gets his hat back, and then Gerald said, "Sorry, Arnold, this is the only bus that I could find." "Wait, Helga, what's she doing here?" And he goes, "No time to explain, Gerald, because the bulldozers were going to roll at 7 a.m. And so Shek gets mad. He punches one of his screens fizzling out and yells out an angry yell when the lightning flashes all over his building. And then he informs Nick about Arnold and Helga and Gerald on a bus to town. And then Nick is already down there with the bulldozers and with his bulldozer hat and a whistle around his neck. And then he informs some people, FTI workers, that Arnold's bus, and to stop it. Arnold boosts Murray, the bus driver's, confidence about trying to drive faster when he learns that his girlfriend Mona lives in the same neighborhood. But they go over a bridge that was about to fold thanks to Shek's employees, and also Shek also trails behind them in his car. And then Big Bob teams up with Phil and his buddies, and then sadly Murray gets knocked out unconscious when he hits the wheel of the steering wheel, and then Gerald takes over because Arnold boosts confidence because Gerald's a good gamer at their arcade, at this arcade game called Runaway Bus. Anyway, he drives the bus, and they manage, but sadly they explode. Shek informs Nick to explode the bridge, and then they use a ramp to manage to get over it, and then the bulldozers start rolling, and then Gertie knocks a bulldozer dude out of his vehicle, and then she starts using the front shovel thingy to stop the bulldozers, and then all of a sudden they crash. The bus crashes, and then Arnold manages to survive, Mayor Dixie and the police arrive and news reporters arrive. Agent Bridget arrives with a zip line and then puts the tape into a jumbotron, and everyone was shocked to see Sheck burning the document. Even the bulldozers were. And then the mayor says, "This is a historic landmark and should never be torn down." And then Sheck comes and then he wonders why is the demolition not starting, but then the bulldozers just go like pointing to the screen. I like how they do that, and then showing Sheck burning the document. He sees that he could go to jail for this. He tries to escape, but turns out Gertie disabled Sheck's car, which Sheck eventually ends up getting arrested, and Big Bob also knocks Nick out cold. And then Harold accidentally sits on a pump, causing the dynamite to ignite, destroying the jumbotron. And then Mona and Murray reconcile. Helga admits that she was just caught in the heat of the moment, and she doesn't really love Arnold. Well, Arnold just refuses to believe it, though. And then Helga skips merrily to her back home, and then as the sun rises, and then Gerald and Arnold decided to go play some hoops, and then Arnold said it's flat, and then Gerald said it's not flat, it's just low on air, and he goes, "Wait, so now you're looking on the bright side?" Well, somebody has to. And I like how Eugene's like singing a song about we saved the neighborhood, and then Gerald turns it off and says, "Show's over, Eugene." And the film ends with Helga skipping merrily down the street to back home as the sun rises over the neighborhood. And that was a great movie. It was a movie from my childhood. I didn't get to see it in theaters, but I got to watch it a lot. I actually watched it at one of my great aunt's house at one point, part of it, and then I eventually got to see it all on VHS tape when I was 7, and it was a great movie. It puts a smile to my face. Rated a 10 out of 10, and this is its 20th anniversary movie review. And thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe for more videos and reaction/review videos, as always, and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified right when a video does come out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Love you all. A big problem calls for a big head. That's what the DVD cover says, or the poster says. But anyway, peace out. Love you guys all.